これは HE システムの CD ロムディスクです。2曲目にコンピューター用データが入っていますので、再生しないでください。
Welcome to PC Engine City. That was one of the boss tunes from the superb Dragon Slayer Legend of Heroes by Falcom. I'd just like to thank you for downloading the show and showing your support for what's undoubtedly one of the finest games consoles ever made. PC Engine was released on October the 30th, 1987, and it went on to achieve a great deal of success in Japan, rivaling the Mega Drive and the Super Famicom in its time. Despite the fact that it was essentially an 8-bit machine. Well, I mean, it actually had two 8-bit processors, but we're not getting all technical here. Never released in the UK, unfortunately, and had a poor sales record in America under the god-awful name of the TurboGrafx 16. The Japanese version is really the one to own. What I hope to do with this show is to bring you a nostalgic and fair balance of CD and chip sound from the good old days of the engine. So I hope you enjoy it. Coming up now is the second track, and it's from Dungeon Explorer 2, released by Hudson Soft in 1993. Right, it's time for some chip music now. So here's a track from Double Ring, or W Ring, or the Double Rings, whatever you really choose to call it. It was a fairly middle of the road shooter by Naxat, but yeah, it's not too bad. The main thing that attracted me to this game was the colour cycling. One of the levels in particular had some really lovely water and sort of rain effects. It was very, very good. The music is pretty good throughout. You know, some of the sound's not great, some of it was pretty nice. Could have done with some sample drums, but here's the track, and it's one of the best. The next couple of tracks I'm going to play are from Masai's Shubin Man 3. Now this was one of my favourite CD-based platformers on the engine, and it was strides ahead of the first two really. When you first put on the game, you're presented with several pretty high quality intros, very nicely drawn, and I mean up until this point Masai were gradually getting better and better. I mean they started off pretty poor with some of their card games, and they were improving over time. And when you consider that only 3 years before this came Energy, which is possibly one of the worst PC Engine games ever, along with that which shall not be named. Anyway, playing Shubin Man 3, it's a very enjoyable experience, and although it's very easy and not stupendously long, it manages to cram an awful lot of variety into the levels. I mean, it's got plenty of impressive graphics. It's got multi-layer parallax scrolling on the first level, which is an eye-opener at the time, and it's got a massive, huge dragon boss which pursues you later, which is pretty damn cool. Another nice point is that the intros change depending on whether you're playing the male or the female character. It has a couple of minor bugs, like some of the bosses you can destroy while they're still actually chatting to you, but it's nothing to get stressed about. It's well worth getting and completing, especially as you can unlock a cool little bonus at the end which shows fan art sent in from readers of Marikatsu PC Engine magazine. So here we are, Shubin Man 3. Another chip quickie coming up, and it's a racy little track. It's from Ninja Gaiden. It always annoyed me that they never actually released the arcade version on any of the home consoles, because I did enjoy that. But this one was a fairly competent platformer by Hudson, except the fact that it was so hard it made me go. Right, we're coming up to something a bit softer and more jingly now. Cute was far more popular in 2D times than it is now, and Dynastic Heroes is a fine example of a cute platformer. It's essentially a conversion of Wonder Boy something or other from the Mega Drive, but the well-arranged CD music makes all the difference. It's a really nice track, and a game with a very nice soundtrack in total. That was nice. Let's have another. The end of the show's nearly upon us, so I'd like to throw out a couple of thank yous. Firstly, thanks again to you for downloading and supporting this show, the first episode of many, I hope. I'd also like to mention my inspiration for this show came from listening to a great podcast called the C64 Takeaway, which plays remixes and chiptunes from the Commodore 64. It's a superb show and a great extension of the wonderful Slay Radio, which is keeping classic C64 tunes alive today. If you're interested in that sort of thing, then check out slayradio.org/podcast. Now, what better way to end than from one of the finest game soundtracks ever composed? I'm surprised I've managed to hold off this long before playing a track from Ys, but this is the Staff Roll from Ys Books 1 and 2. No doubt you'll be hearing a lot more of the Ys music on future shows. This one's absolutely superb. See you next time.
Louisiana.co.uk